Hello.
Hello.
Am I audible?
Power is there.
Yeah, they can hear you.
Yes.
What they do is they will present.
Tomorrow you'll be here, Mirza.
What is this for?
Morning, huh?
Oh, this is
Shama will come. She will be put it in the desktop there. I will ask Shama.
Mirza.
سهل لا يرجو الإنجليزي ما يرجو ماليزي يرجو إنجليزي
Oh,
Brother. Sana.
oh, because the security guard last, sorry.
Yes, Mirzan.
Oh,
The one that the taller one is Shamim. I was so sad about the attendance.
لا ما يبون له فرقانة
the briefing. قلنا لكم لا.
يعني ما يبون إلا فرقانة هم حيذلنا ناخذ وظائفهم.
Okay, you can speak.
Okay. No, you face here. That's the.
Yes. Can also. You're also.
نفس المناهج هنا نفس اللي ياخذون إنجليزي بس نفس.
Some place the sun is on.
A very good afternoon. Knowledge to all the participants who are virtually present and the participants who are here with us physically. Welcome to our first international conference on global education. This session will incorporate a wide variety of themes in global education, as in innovation, trends, and progressive development. I wish the virtual participants and the physical participants all the very best for your paper presentation. I'm Dr. Betsy. I chair the session along with Dr. Chandramohan. Dr. Chandramohan is our co-chair who is going to evaluate the presentations and will also summarize the key points after everyone's presentation consistently. I once again welcome all of you. Hope we have a very fruitful session and engaging thoughts on the themes that we have generated. And this particular session is a collaborative theme. I wish you all good luck and thank you for your time.
Ritual, they look at how many likes.
Let's move on to our first presenter, Mr. Pavel Morek. Mr. Pavel Morek is presenting on the topic, examining importance of respect in the classroom. I request Mr. Morek to start his presentation.
Time.
Thank you.
Is Mr. Pavel present? Mr. Pavel present online? Can I have a response from Mr. Pavel?
I think he's not online.
Mr. Pavel is here. Our first presenter, Mr. Pavel Moratic.
All right.
No, few minutes, then move to second one.
If Mr. Pavel is not present, we move on to the next participant and Mr. Pavel will join the queue. Our next presenter is T.K. Shin, who is going to present on emotional intelligence and functioning coping strategies among Malaysian Chinese independent secondary school teacher, which is a pilot study. I repeat, the presenter T.K. Shin, presenting on the emotional intelligence and functioning coping strategies among Malaysian Chinese independent secondary school teachers, a pilot study.
He is absent.
We move on to the third presenter, Inamula, titled Arbery's Translation of Surah Al-Qasas, an analysis of grammar linguistic losses.
Yes, I am present. Should start.
Yeah, can you please start playing your recording?
Should I start talking?
Yes, thank you for being the first presenter of the session.
Hello. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So thank you so much. My presentation topic is Arbery's translation of Surah Al-Qasas and analysis of linguistic losses. I am co-presented by Dr. Ali Muhammad, who is also my supervisor, and she is also the faculty of Social Sciences, Arts and Humanities at Lincoln University College. So the agenda of my presentation for today is that I will be introducing the topic. I'll be talking about statement of problem. I'll be talking about objectives of my research, literature review, research methodology, and some portion of data analysis, plus conclusion and recommendations. So in the introduction, it is a natural phenomenon nowadays that texts are translated from one language into others for different reasons. The translation of literature is very common. Besides literature, there are books of other numerous disciplines such as physical sciences, social sciences, religion, etc., that are also translated from one language into other. The basic reason behind these translations is to bring the stock of knowledge present in one language into other to make it easily understandable for the people of that language. Can you mute the other people? Could you please mute the Hello. Hello. Thank you so much. The basic reason behind these translations is to bring the stock of knowledge present in one language into other to make it easily understandable for the people of that language. And a lot of people throughout the globe are benefiting from these translations made into their languages. However, these translations are not always satisfactory, since perfect translation of text in one language into other is something which falls beyond human capacity. And because of the imperfection of these translations, people who study these translations are sometimes baffled. They do not get the right message conveyed by the writer of the text in the source language. Now, loss and translation of the Holy Quran. It is very clear from the above discussion that the loss of meaning in the translation is inevitable. More specifically, when we talk about the translation of the Holy Quran, it is the book of Allah and it is a miracle. It is a book pregnant with meanings, and its every word bears a good deal of meaning. It cannot be translated as such. Nobody can create such a splendid work. As Quran itself challenges the people, it says, and if you are in doubt about what we have sent upon our servant Prophet Muhammad, then produce a surah like thereof and call upon your witnesses other than Allah if you should be truthful. The verse implies that such a work could never be made by anyone till the end of the universe. It also implies that the work that will be done in this field would not be free of mistakes. The reason is that it is a godly book and humans cannot withstand with whatever is composed by God. Prophet Muhammad's illiteracy further emphasized the doctrines of Quran's miraculousness, since an unlettered person could not have been suspected to come up with such a marvelous work, according to Sophie. Now, the statement of problem of my research is that we have noted that the loss of meaning in the Quran translation will always be there. No translator can claim that the translation he or she has made, whether direct or oblique, is free of mistakes. Different researchers have found out after the analysis of different translations that all the analyzed translations are lacking some feature of meaning implied in the original text of the Holy Quran. However, the research in hands will be focusing the linguistic losses, the loss of cultural and religion specified terms, the loss of tense, the loss of syntax, the loss of word order, and so on. And it is highlighting some of the loss of meanings occurring at different levels in the translation of chapter number 28, which is named as Surah Al-Qasas of the Holy Quran by John Arthur RPE. Now, what are the research objectives? The first objective is to identify through linguistic analysis the loss of meaning in the translation of RBD of Surah Al-Qasas. Then to specify the type of losses in the translations which are occurring in the translation. And lastly, to find out instances of domestication and foreignization in the translation along with elements of new Marx translation approach. So this is basically, I'm talking about my theoretical framework and conceptual framework. Now, there are some of the views of scholars about the loss of meaning. Translating text of one language into other is always a crucial task for translators. They focus on imitation of the words of selected source language into the target language as clearly as possible. However, it is not an easy job at all. The translators mostly face the problem of loss of meaning while translating a text of selected language into target language. It is stated that energy loss is inevitable. Similarly, the translator's aim is to reduce the translation loss according to Armstrong. Armstrong admits that it is not possible for a translator to transfer the meaning of the source language into target language as they are presented in the source text. Now, there are some other views of the translators, which is part of literature review, so I should be skipping this portion. Starting with the research methodology chapter. So in the methodology, this is an interdisciplinary research which discusses parts of linguistics, pragmatics, and translation studies. So it is a kind of amalgamation of these three disciplines. They are distinctive but interconnected fields of research under the umbrella term of applied linguistics. The organization study bounds the researchers to follow a pre-selected path. The overall structure design of the research along with theoretical and conceptual framework has been separately discussed. This is a descriptive study which proceeds according to the following points. The first point is that I have selected chapter number 28 of the Holy Quran as a sample representative of pragmatic losses in translation of the Holy Quran. I have selected an English translation of Surah Al-Qasas by an English translator, and then I have selected a theoretical framework with reference to different dimensions of pragmatic losses in the selected translation of the Holy Quran. Then I have created a linguistic model for analysis under comparative model of translation ruling. Now, I will be finding out elements of pragmatic and selected translated verses of the whole Surah Al-Qasas. I'll be identifying, we notice domestication and foreignization in the selected translation. I'll be identifying the translation process in the selected translation through both Newmark's criticism plan and comparative linguistic analysis of Surah Al-Qasas. And on the basis of this study, I'll be formulating and suggesting to minimize how we can minimize the losses in the English translations of the Holy Quran. On the basis of this linguistic analysis, formalization and finalization of recommendations will be presented. Now, this is Newmark's criticism plan. He discusses 5 points, which is a brief study of SL, source language, focusing on its implication and function, translators' method of translation and the interpretation of source language text purpose, detailed comparison of source language and target language, evaluation and translation from both the translations and critics' perspective, and lastly, and the future of translation in the target language and culture and discipline. So this is actually the Newmark's criticism plan. Then we have methodology section, where I have to discuss about the Grice's maxims, where, excuse me?
Two of you do the evaluation. One.
You may have.
Up to her.
Okay. Okay. So in the methodology, I'll be discussing Grice's maxims, quantitative, qualitative, relevance, and manner, which is presented by Grice, Newmark's Grice. Then I'll be talking about minorities, domestication, and foreignization, which is discussed thoroughly by Newmark's translation approach. And he talks about the textual level, the referential level, the cohesive level, and the level of naturalness. Now, the conceptual framework of this, the analysis is like this, that on the one hand, we have source language, on the other hand, we have translation number one, which is of words number one. Then I'll be talking about elements of pragmatic losses in the target languages, target text, along with the evaluation through Newmark's criticism plan. Then I'll be identifying, we notice foreignization and domestication along with adopted translation approaches through Newmark's translation approaches and analysis of Grice's maxims. And then I'll be concluding each and every verse. So this is one of the example of my data analysis. This is the first verse, which is taken from Surah Al-Qasas, chapter number 28, which says Ta Sin Mim, and it is translated as it is in the language, English language, as Ta Ta Sin Mim. Right? So in the analysis, we say that it can be concluded from the above table that the first verse is pragmatically loaded with meaning, but catching the real meaning is beyond the reach of human race. It can also be extracted that there is manifestation of pragmatic losses of texture. Since if we can see here the words are only 3 words, and on the other hand, if we count, so the words are more than 3. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 3 alphabets are, changed into 8. So it is, a loss of texture. Then, and the syntactic pattern, if we look at the pattern, so the pattern here, all the 3 words, they are connected. But here we have gaps between all the 3 words. So this is, again, a syntactic pattern, the loss of syntactic pattern. Though the translator has tried but failed to domesticize the words and was challenged by the uniqueness of Quranic texts. So the RBD has tried to transfer the meaning of the words or the sounds of Arabic text into English language, but he has failed to do so, and he has failed to convey the implied texture and syntactic pattern of the Holy Quran. This has led to flouting of maximum of manner. If we see here, the manner over here is the presentation of all the 3 alphabets, collectively. But here we have gaps in the 3 words. So it is the manner, the violation of the flouting of manner is presented by Grice's. So the translator has utilized the textual level of Newmark's translation approach. If we see here, he has only focused on the sounds of the alphabets, and he never tried to catch the meaning, what are these words implying of the source text. conclusion and recommendations. Although I have, analyzed around 52 verses, but since the time is very limited, so I have just given you an example of only one verse. So on the basis of, the discussion, the researchers draws that Arbiri's translation has often followed word for word pattern in his translation, as we have seen in the above example. The translator has tried his best in domesticating translation with occasional instances of foreignization. As we have seen here, he has tried to domesticize the words and sounds of Arabic into English. Now, the translator has made use of different levels of nuanced translation approach according to the needs of source text and target text, as we have seen there. The translator has occasionally flouted the maxims, and specifically the maxim of relation and manner in the selected verses, as I have presented in the full paper, which is, of course, not present here in the slides. And it is recommended for future researchers of linguistics and translation studies that research on the translation of the Holy Quran is needed for different theoretical and practical perspectives. The translations offer a lot of gaps and presents many challenges which need to be fulfilled and resolved. So this is all about my presentation. Here we have some references, and if you have any questions, you can ask. Thank you so much.
It was a very brief presentation, Mr. Imanullah, and congratulations on that. Do we
Thank
have
you.
any questions from the virtual participants?
Okay.
Virtual participants, if you have any questions on this presentation, please unmute your microphone and you may proceed with asking questions. If there are any questions from the participants here,
Ask once or twice, no?
so the
Okay, go ahead, please.
has successfully comprehensively presented the findings of the study on Arbori's translation of Surah Al-Masih, where the presenter has suggested the nuanced translation approach, which needs to be followed by religious translators across for a very in-depth and for a meaningful translation from the source text. So this is the takeaway of this presentation.
Thank you so
I
much.
ask my co-chair, Dr. Chandramohan, if he has any further questions on the presentation.
Hello. I think that was
Hello.
a comprehensive presentation. Thank you for your presentation. I have no question. So I hope that you will continue to do your research and you will continue to enhance your research. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ram, and all the best for this research work in future.
It's not my field.
Thank you.
Over to the next presenter, Dr. Khalid Al-Shababi.
Oh, yes, going.
Dr. Khalid Al-Shababi.
Audio visual aids. I think this one okay. Visual aids.
If there is no response, I will proceed to the next presenter, Vijay Sundaram. Mr. Vijay Sundaram. Title: A review of literature on the possible personal professional development strategies for state sector teachers in Sri Lanka,
The photograph.
a way forward in the modern context.
Yes, the one with the photograph.
Good afternoon, Professor. Good afternoon.
We are going to play your video recording of your presentation.
Okay, thank you.
The paper ID is ICOGE 065. The presenter will be prepared to answer questions raised by the participants after your recording is complete.
Social Science, Arts and Humanities of Lincoln University College. The title of this presentation is Possible Continuous Professional Development Strategies for State Sector Teachers in Sri Lanka, a way forward in the modern context, and this reviews pertinent literature on the continuous professional development, in short CPD for teachers. Before I start my presentation, I would like to present a brief outline of it. First, I will introduce the topic with a brief background, the significance of the study and the research questions. Next, I will brief you on the methodology I used, which will be followed by a discussion of results. Finally, the recommendations will be discussed at the end of the presentation. There will be time allocated for questions. Talking about the background and the significance of the study, this study is based on a part of a larger literature review conducted for my PhD research that targets providing professional development opportunities for teachers of English literature in Sri Lanka. Continuous professional development is identified as a crucial aspect of teaching and its effectiveness. However, Sri Lanka presently suffers a dearth of CPD for teachers of the state sector schools. This study comprehensively reviews the pertinent literature on existing issues and possible CPD strategies suitable in the modern context. Now I would like to present you the problem statement and the research questions. In Sri Lanka, pre-service teacher education is not considered essential. Although continuous professional development is an integral component of effective teacher practice that can fulfill the teacher training needs after their recruitment, according to literature, Sri Lanka has not been able to successfully address such needs with a consistent and a robust CPD approach. There are several reasons underlying this situation, and it is important to find solutions in order to make this education productive. So my research questions were, what does the pertinent literature say about issues in the conventional approaches used in CPD for state sector teachers in Sri Lanka? And my second question was, according to the pertinent literature, what possible approaches could be used for CPD for state sector teachers or the existing conventional methods in Sri Lankan context? We are coming to the methodology now. This review of literature has focused on 37 studies published in and outside Sri Lanka, and they were journal articles, book chapters and books published online. Pertinent literature on the CPD for teachers, those were published from 2014 to the present day, were reviewed. The majority comes from 2018 to 2023. Data analysis was a qualitative analysis using typological categorization of literature and thematic analysis of the content. Continuing with the methodology, I here describe the databases used. I have used ResearchGate, JSTOR, Science Direct, ERIC and few other databases. JSTOR contributed with 14 articles, ResearchGate with 13, ERIC and Science Direct with 3 articles each, and 4 from other sources such as PubMed. I have located 70 articles and used 37 out of them for this review. Continuing with the categorical screening of literature used, 14 articles from studies on Sri Lankan education and Sri Lankan CPD strategies, 10 articles on CPD for teachers from developing countries, and 8 articles on CPD for teachers from developed countries, and 5 reviews of literature were used for this review. Now let's move on to the findings and the discussion. 9 publications contributed to understanding the major drawbacks found in the present Sri Lankan CPD strategies. Poor resource management and issues in human resource allocation were prominent issues, and the literature revealed that present interventions take place in a haphazard manner. And adding to that, outdated strategies were found to be ineffective in CPD, and also traditional top-down lecture method that does not take teachers' contribution to learn also was seen as an issue. And also high cost incurred by the government was seen as a drawback, as the training, transport and time allocation were solely financed by the ministry. And another issue was that cascading of information that causes information dilution, where one master trainer trained another set of mentor teachers, and who then trained the teachers. So this resulted in the degradation of the quality of the CPD interventions, and lack of needs analysis also was another issue, where the CPD programs did not cater to exact teacher needs. Also was among the several issues I found in this study. The review of literature contributed toward locating several remedial strategies that could be used to address the issues that hamper CPD efforts in Sri Lanka. Teacher-led methods that can address individual needs were identified as more effective, and bottom-up strategies versus top-down transmission were also identified in this review. And supporting highly contextualized content and practices by getting the teachers to decide what they want to learn through needs analysis also was another suitable strategy. And incorporating ICT and innovative digital material to make content easy to be delivered, and also to match the modern context. And also incorporating IT could reduce the high cost of traveling and deploying of physical and human resources also was noticed. And the maintenance of concurrency by incorporating expertise outside the local context, again by probably using ICT, was identified as a possible strategy. And also teacher collaboration and contribution, which is more engaging and can make the participants responsible for their own learning, which is also could be a strategy to make CPD efforts more teacher oriented. That is also another observation. And also to use open educational resources, which is also a more teacher-friendly method due to their availability and easily accessibility. It also could reduce the cost of CPD. And however, although I could not locate any evidence, I heard from teachers that there have been few efforts to implement online CPD workshops in the recent past, perhaps as a pilot project. So that's also some suggestion that we can take from the literature available. Therefore, findings suggest that incorporating context-centric, innovative, techno-friendly strategies led by teachers should be considered while planning CPD programs for them to be effective in terms of productivity and also the cost effectiveness. However, there are limitations to this study. The content used for this review was limited to literature found online, and a limited number of empirical studies done in Sri Lanka on the topic were available to be reviewed. Therefore, it may impact the reliability of the findings, and also further innovative methods are largely techno-friendly strategies. The usability may be impacted by the availability of technology in the country, and specifically as the country is going through an economic crisis. These are the references that I have used in my presentation. I have come to the end of my presentation, and thank you for listening. I would like to invite questions from the audience. Have a nice day.
Questions? Please unmute your microphone and you may ask the questions to the presenter. Is there any questions from the audience? Well, I have a few questions. So this study is about improving the professional practice of educators in the state centers in Sri Lanka.
That's right.
However, the research question is pertaining very specifically to the strategies that has been adopted in the context of Sri Lanka, which is very clearly mentioned in the research questions. However, when you're making a literature review as a methodology, you have also counted in other countries other than Sri Lanka. So which means your research question should not pertain to just Sri Lanka, but it has to be a global perspective. Since you have incorporated the literature on professional development or continuing professional development of educators and teachers across countries, your research question should also vision the same element, which means your research question should focus on the strategies adopted and how strategies are being successful across other countries, not just limited to Sri Lanka.
That's right. Yes, I got it. Yes.
Yes. Again, the findings constrain itself to what is found in Sri Lankan studies. So there is a little ambiguity in understanding how many literature review has been done specifically to Sri Lankan studies or studies that has been done in the perspective of Sri Lankan universities or colleges or schools. What was their numbers? And what was the year chosen for the literature review? Was it from the last previous 5 years or was it 10 years? Because when you're doing a literature review presentation, it is important for the audience to understand what is the duration of the literature review that was focused on. Was it 5 years, 10 years, 15 years?
Yeah, I have mentioned it, ma'am. It was from 2014 to the present. I actually explained it. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for the clarification. And I also would like to know why was the Web of Sciences and the Scopus database not taken for your literature review?
Actually, I located 70 articles, but I could not directly find information from them. So I thought of containing myself to the 37 articles that I found that I could use directly. And also another observation was that in Sri Lankan context, there were only few articles available. And they were talking about actually Sri Lankan education, but not about CPD strategies. So I left them out and I selected a few to talk about or to understand the education of Sri Lanka right now.
So which means this adjustment has to be done in your research questions and also subsequent in your findings and discussion.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Ms. Vijay. It was a pleasure to know about the professional development strategies getting or being adopted in Sri Lanka, which is definitely a very important context of discussion and very and highly relevant to the theme of this conference. So, congratulations for the effort that you have taken, and thank you for the effort that you took. So much.
Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
So moving on to the next presenter, I want to know if Mr. Nosheen Jaffer is present online. Nosheen Jaffer, who has the title Post-Colonial Localization of Shakespeare in Indian Cinema. Nosheen Jaffer. I'll move on to the next participant, Zhao Haojin. Zhao Haojin, who has the title to be presented on Achievement Goal Orientation Characteristics of University Students' Academic Skills, Social Skills, and Emotional Experiences. Zhao Haojin. Moving on to the next presenter, Zhao Ihan, who has the present title, The Study on the Integration of Henan Traditional Art into the Public Art Education System of Local Colleges and Universities.
Hello, I'm here.
Yes. Yes, Mr. John, welcome.
I'm Zhao Yihan.
Yes. So your paper ID is ICOGE 080. So we will start your recording.
Okay. I'm trying watching.
Have you given your recording?
Yeah, we
Yes.
have.
We have your recording here, and we're glad that we will share the recording.
I'm trying to
Wait for the recording to be complete and get ready for the question and answer session.
Right?
80.
Hello everyone, I am Zhao Yihan from Henan, China. I am a student from the School of Humanities and Science, Lincoln University. I would like to report on the research on the integration of Henan traditional art into the public art education system of local colleges and universities in China. I will introduce it in 4 parts. First of all, there has always been a contradiction between theory and practice, goals and reality in the development of Chinese traditional art and cultural resources. At the same time, colleges and universities are also the main position for the inheritance and development of traditional culture. I have been engaged in art education in colleges and universities for 13 years. It is found that local colleges and universities have no characteristics in carrying out public art education. The curriculum content is not rich. The teaching method is single. Pay more attention to the theoretical setting and acception and lack of regional characteristics. There are few practical links for students, so it is difficult to resonate with beauty and achieve the teaching goal of improving students' aesthetic level, inheriting and developing traditional culture. Therefore, there are three reasons for this study. First, in terms of social needs, Henan province has a profound historical and cultural reception. There have been 20 dynasties in Chinese history, and Henan traditional culture represents 我从这句前面开始读。And Henan traditional culture represents Chinese traditional culture to a certain extent. Therefore, it is very representative to select Henan province as the scope of the topic. Among them, Henan traditional art resources are quite rich. There are 17 traditional art national non-heritage projects in Henan, and there are more than 300 provincial. 我从300开始读，从这句前面开始读。And there are more than 300 provincial and county level traditional art non-heritage projects, which makes it possible for them to integrate into the public art education in local colleges and universities. I work in the local universities in Henan province, and the teaching test contains public art courses, which can better provide data for this topic. The second reason, in fact, is to further emphasize why Henan should be chosen for research. First of all, according to the announcement by the Ministry of Education of China in 2023, of the 3,013 colleges and universities in 31 provinces, Henan accounts for 156, ranking third in the country. In addition, according to the date of Chinese 7th population census in 2021, Henan province 我从这句开始读。Henan province has a population of 99,365,519, ranking third in the country, which determines that Henan traditional art can get the 着了。这句重新开始读。Henan province has a population of 99,365,519, ranking third in the country, which determines that Henan traditional art can get the advantage of sample number in the regional dissemination of public art education in local colleges and universities, so as to inherit and develop the traditional art with regional characteristics. The third reason is the support of Chinese policies. Since 2002, the Chinese Ministry of Education has ensured laws and regulations related to traditional art and public art education, emphasizing the importance of promoting traditional culture and carrying out public art education at the national level. 你要剪的地方有好多哟。Second, when carrying out the research, Second, when carrying out the research, I look up the traditional art and public art education in foreign literature entries, and there is no corresponding literature for the time being. However, the main purpose of national traditional art is to present the main purpose of national traditional art is to present the excellent traditional culture through higher education to achieve the purpose of protection and inheritance. This idea is similar to the concept of multicultural education advocated by the West. By consulting the literature, James A. in Multicultural Education, Issues and Perspective, James A. Banks believed that the multicultural education should do three things: an idea for concept, an education reform movement and process. B. Kuperik said, in multicultural education, the interminable depth. Multicultural education should not only cultivate students' basic abilities of critical thinking, self-criticism, education, and forming development. Evaluation and forming independent judgment, but also cultivate students in 姐呀，这我老差行呀，我手倒住我还差行，太密了。
那咱咋办法给他打出来？
Sorry,
我还不能复制。
sorry, teacher.
不能复制。
对，我就是复制不下来。我本来想着复制，要是能复制的话，
咋不能复制啊？能啊。
Excuse me, person.
还不能打干啥？先暂停。
Sorry, professor. Sorry, professor. I guess the version posted in the past is not very correct.
I think we all observed that. Can I request you to give us a 3-minute presentation of your findings? You can speak. Just 3 minutes. Can you conclude your findings?
Sorry, wait a moment.
Can you conclude your findings, if possible?
Okay. I have been engaged in art education in university for 13 years, and I found that local university lack distinctness in public art education. In addition, the course content is not rich. The reaching master are single, and it always forecasts in theoretical setting and concepts, and also like regional characteristics. The same time, there are also few opportunities for students to practice, making it difficult to resonate with the beauty of art. Therefore, I have choose this topic. I want to integrate Henan province traditional art into the public art education system of local universities through various teaching methods, not only to remain on the theoretical level, but also to strengthens student practical skill and increase their interest in traditional art.
Thank you, Ms. Ihan.
Sorry.
No problem.
Sorry.
I understand. I think the audience might have also understood that Ms. Ihan's presentation is all about incorporating the Western perspective of art education and fusing it as a multicultural presentation of studying and learning art, as in the Henan culture or the Henan art in all public universities and colleges or in education across China. So this is what you intend through your presentation. I think I have rightly summarized. Is it so, Ms. Ihan?
Yes, all right.
Okay. I wish all further luck in your future studies in the same regard. Is there any questions from the audience or from the virtual participants?
No, thank you.
Okay,
Sorry.
thank you so much, Ms. Ihan. Thank you so much for joining this conference. I wish you all good luck.
Okay.
Moving on to the next presenter, Yuan Hoipeng. Yuan Hoipeng, who has a title Examining the Impact of Project-Based Learning on Student Engagement and Academic Achievement in High School Mathematics. Moving on to the next participant, Liu Tingyu.
Okay.
Ms. Liu Tingyu, who has a presentation on a study of motivation and student engagement in STEM education, which is an investigation of the gender differences. I'm moving to the next participant, Tai Wi-Fi, who has a presentation, a study concentrated on student and instructor perspectives concerning the cultural context of e-learning in higher education in China and Flemish. I can see the participant, Tai Wi-Fi.
Hello, Professor.
Hello. Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear.
Okay. So the
Okay.
ID of Tai Wi-Fi is ICOGE 118.
Okay. I'm here.
118. We will start to play your recording.
Oh. Wait, I need to share my screen.
My name is Tianwei Fang from Inner Mongolia, China. I'm a doctoral student in the Faculty of Social Science, Arts, and Humanities, Lincoln University College. It's a great honor to attend this meeting. The title of my thesis is a study concentrated on student and instructor perspectives cornering the cultural context of e-learning in higher education in China and Flemish. Next is my presentation, including research background, statement of the problem, objective of study, conceptual framework of the study, research methodology, result and discussion, and the last conclusion. First is the research background. This case study intends to examine difficulties connected to the adoption and implementation of e-learning in the setting of China and Flanders, as well as to identify the similarities and variation ratings, the factors of students, teachers, and the context. An e-learning course incorporates a wide range of learning styles into a single course. Computer and internet-based learning in mixed learning settings is the emphasis of this distinction, which uses the term e-learning, interdisciplinary education. As a result, it may be inferred that in addition to the many online resources, there is still a need for face-to-face interaction. Next is a statement of the problem. 1. What are the perspectives of learners in context of e-learning? 2. How the e-learning is implemented from teacher's point of view. Objective of study. 1. To identify the perspective of the learners. 2. To study the procedure of the e-learning implementation and the teacher. 3. To explore the three perspectives of interaction with the cultural educational context. The figure of the conceptual framework of the study, including e-learning, learner, and teacher. Next is research methodology. Non-synchronized in addition to lectures delivered in person, there will also be talks done online. Each student will be placed inside a group consisting of 7 to 10 other students, the completion of which will be determined by chance. The realistic dialogue activities will make use of the following three instructional scientific philosophies: cognitivism, constructivism, and behaviorism. In line with every one of the topics, the students will each participate in between 2 and 3 different discussion activities. And next is the result and discussion. It includes 3. 1. The culture as well as the institutional setting. 2. Presence of instruction in higher education. 3. Adoption of instructional innovations in higher education. First is the cultural as well as the institutional setting. According to the finding, there may be a connection between cultural difference and the use of social constructivism, as well as the adoption of e-learning and online collaborative learning. The findings of the power distance between students and the teachers appear to reveal no major difference between the teaching and learning environments of Chinese and Vietnamese context. Second, presence of instruction in higher education. Chinese educators are held up as role models not just in terms of knowledge, but also in terms of ethics. Despite this, the conventional connection between a teacher and a student is undergoing shifts. Both in the West and the East cultural settings, it is considered important for instructors to present themselves as either facilitators or delegators. In addition, Chinese teachers more frequently refer to their role as a guide, which suggests that they are more likely to play a guiding and leading role. On the other hand, the coach role mentioned by Feynman's teachers refers to more of a supporting and supervisory role than it does a guiding and leading role. The second, adoption of instructional innovations in higher education. Those innovations, which aims at the acquisition of high-quality information, the development of problem-solving abilities, and the promotion of self-directed learning, have been influenced by both constructivism and social constructivism. And the last is conclusion. This research examined the characteristics of students and teachers as they relate to the adoption of an e-learning environment in a university context. Students and instructors in diverse cultural educational contexts will be researched using a number of critical factors to uncover the variance and invariance. That's all my presentations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wei-Fan. So to summarize Ms. Wei-Fan's presentation, Ms. Wei-Fan described the characteristics of the students and the teachers' background of how they can be categorized into an adopted context of e-learning, how teachers and learners have been able to embrace e-learning technology into the learning process and what was their concentrated strategies and cultural context. Any questions from the participants? Any questions from the audience?
Oh, no.
I have a question, Ms. Wei-Fan. The audience would have been very clear if you had clearly given us in which kind of learning that you have characterized the students and the participants' understanding process. What did they learn? What subject were taught in e-context?
Oh, online.
Was not well substantiated. The methodology was cut short, or the methodology was not given in full. So it is very ambiguous to understand under which learning context, under which program of study, what subjects of e-learning was categorized here. Was it mathematics? If you're choosing mathematics, was it algebra or calculus? Or if you're teaching science, what topics of science was taught under the e-context? And what was their learning process, which is comparatively different from the learning process as we see in face-to-face teaching learning. So because the methodology was not given in full, I think there was a little more ambiguity to understand the characteristics that is different from that of the regular or conventional mode of teaching and learning process. Ms. Wei-Fan, I think in further presentations, you have to be very clear with the methodology.
Okay.
You have anything to say? I mean, regarding your methodology?
I couldn't hear very clear.
Okay.
Sorry.
no problem.
时候的状态。
Yes, we can always meet and we can discuss your research, no problem. I understand there is some technical difficulties. Thank you, Ms. Weifan. Thank you for participating and presenting in this conference.
Okay, thank you.
The next participant is Zumin, who has a presentation ready for perceptions of secondary school teachers. I repeat, perceptions of secondary school students towards English as a foreign language learning, a study in China.
Do you have my PPT?
Zoom in.
Yes, I'm ready. I just copying it.
So the participant is here face to face with us.
I will just use the pen to change. So can I find my PPT, right?
Give me just 1 minute. Just 1 minute, huh, ma'am? 1 minute.
Zoom link abruptly off or Zoom link is still on?
Zoom is still on.
Online participants who have missed your timing, please wait. We come back while you are in queue. We will come to resume your presentation after this physical presentation of a candidate, Ms. Susan.
在说啥呀，哥？
Okay. Your PPT, eh?
Yes.
What is your name?
朱学敏 121.
21.
Yes, 121.
121, yes.
I use the microphone.
Yeah.
And the pen to change the slide. Pen.
Good afternoon, dear professors and dear guests. It's my great honor to have this opportunity to present to share my presentation. And I'm very honored to be the first physical participant this afternoon. The topic of my presentation is perceptions of secondary school students towards English as a foreign language learning, a study in China.
Next. This next. To China? Yeah.
So I will present this part from the following parts: a brief introduction, statement of the problem, objective of the study, research methodology, results, and discussion, and finally the conclusion. This research explores the perceptions of secondary school students in China towards learning English as a foreign language, with English
gaining prominence as a global language, understanding students' attitudes, beliefs, and motivations towards EFL learning is crucial for educational policymakers and practitioners. So this study aims to provide insights into the perceptions of Chinese secondary school students, shedding light on their preferences, challenges, and overall experiences in learning English as a foreign language. Now it's about the statement of the problem. The problem addressed in this study is to investigate the perceptions of secondary school students in China towards learning English as a foreign language. Specifically, the study aims to explore the attitudes, motivations, and the challenges faced by these students in learning in language learning process. By examining their perceptions, the research seeks to provide insights into the factors that influence their students' engagement and success in learning English as a foreign language in Chinese educational context. So the specific objectives are as follows. First, to examine the attitudes of the students in learning English as a foreign language. Second, try to explore the motivations for students in learning English as a foreign language in China. The third objective is to identify their challenges faced by these students in learning English as a foreign language. The number 4 is to investigate their preferred learning strategies and some activities for secondary school students in China. Finally, to provide insights and recommendations for improving the language learning experience for secondary school students in China.
Good. Shai, no?
Yes. By achieving these objectives, the study aims to provide a comprehensive understanding of secondary school students, their perceptions about learning English in China. So the findings will contribute to the existing literature and provide valuable insights for educators, curricular designers, and policy makers, some practitioners, to improve the quality of EFL learning in secondary schools. Okay, next. So the research will be conducted by employing the following methods. First is a literature review, questionnaire, the interview, group discussions, classroom observations, and data analysis. The next part is about the results and discussion. The discussion for the results focuses on the key findings and their implications for EFL learning in China. First finding is about their attitude towards EFL learning. So according to the study, secondary school students in China generally hold positive attitudes towards learning English because they have recognized the importance of English for their future career prospects and cultural understanding. And the second finding is about their motivations for learning English. The study reveals that students' motivations for learning English are multifaceted. Academic requirements, future career aspirations, personal interests, and cultural curiosity all play a role in motivating students to learn English. The third one is about perceived challenges faced by students in learning English. Challenges include the difficulties in pronunciation, vocabulary acquisition, and speaking skills. These challenges may stem from the differences between Chinese and English, including language structures and phonetics. The last part is the conclusion. So this study aims to investigate the perceptions of the secondary school students in China towards learning English as a foreign language. So the study tries to examine students' attitudes, motivations, challenges, and their preferences in their learning process, as well as the influence of teachers and peers on their perceptions. Firstly, secondary school students in China generally recognized the importance of learning English, and they demonstrated a positive attitude towards EFL learning. They viewed English as a valuable skill for their future career prospects and cultural understanding. However, some students also expressed challenges and frustrations in areas such as pronunciation, vocabulary acquisition, and speaking skills. Secondly, motivations for EFL learning varied among students, including academic requirements, future career aspiration, personal interests, and cultural curiosity. The influence of parental expectations and societal pressure on students' motivation was also evident. Additionally, the study identified preferred learning strategies and activities, with students showing a preference for interactive and collaborative approaches, multimedia resources, and self-study. Okay, that's all for my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions from the online participants and from the audiences? Ms. Suman, I have a question. I understand this is a qualitative study because you have taken interviews, group discussions, and also you had direct observation.
Yes.
Why did you choose to do that when you have a lot of studies that has already been conducted in the past for a similar topic?
Because I just wanted to know the students' overall experiences and perceptions, even their learning styles. How many factors can influence their study, and how they regard English as an important part for their learning, even for their future life.
Okay, so I understand you wanted a fresh approach to find if there is any new evidence that you will find out of the literature review. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there any questions from the audience? Over to the co-chair.
Hello, sorry, I just saw your conclusion. So anyway, I'm looking at your topic. I think like what Dr. Maxi said just now, this study has been conducted many times. So I think to make it a fresh one, don't put a study in China. You might as well put a study in your own province or in the place that you did the study. So that will make it a little bit more specific and more current in that place compared to China. China is very big. So if you're going to say a study in China, that means you are saying that you are collecting the data from all over China, which is impossible. So I would say this is just a suggestion. I suggest that instead of writing a study in China, you can put a study in Henan province or wherever you come from, you put that. That will make it a little bit more appropriate to this, because this study has been done by many people. So to make it a little bit more personalized, you put it as your own province. That will be better. Thank you.
Thank you for the idea. And also I can add something here, according to Dr. Mohammad's speech. These challenges for foreign language only in English or also for all the foreign language? If for all foreign language, so you can make English as case study. I think so. You can discuss in your research about all the foreign language. Yes, perhaps for all the language, but in China, students, secondary school students mainly learn English as their foreign language. So they must have some challenges or difficulties in learning English. So if another researcher want to conduct it for Germany language, the challenges will be the same or another challenge. They will be facing another challenges. Yes, maybe not same. Yes. Same. In this case, it's better to put your research about foreign language in general and make English language as a case study. Yeah. And then when you present your finding, you can mention about Chinese students facing from foreign language, even Germany, English, and so on. To the marginalization. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations once again, and you will now receive a certificate of participation. Back to our online presenters. Is there any other online presenter available for your presentation? Mr. Pavel. T. Kershin.
Hello, I'm Kershin. Sorry, just now I missed out my presentation session. Could I present?
Yes.
Right. So sorry, I will on my video. Yeah, I'm Kershin. I'm so sorry about that because I accidentally joined other rooms, so I missed out the presentation. And so I will share my slide. Thank you. Okay. Sorry, could you see the screen? I think I already give the video. I already sent the video. Yeah.
You have already sent the video?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is that?
The number for the video is 052.
052.
Yeah.
Just give me one.
Good day, my name is Kershin from the New Era University College. I'm happy that I can present my research at the ICOGE 2023. And my research title is Examining the Chinese Independent Secondary School Teachers' Emotional Intelligence and Coping Responses, Protocol of a Cross-Sectional Study. So first we will go to the introduction part. Teaching tasks are undeniable, stressful, and full of challenges. While the unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic have intensified the teacher's stress, anxiety, and depressions. So exploring the teacher emotional intelligence and coping responses are especially needed in this difficult time. Current study assume that the low EI among the teacher can cause a very serious issues and can be and this kind of issue can be reflected during the cooperating with other colleagues by facilitating student learning experience and performing appropriate emotional management in education circumstance, and therefore cause a serious problem in the education. In the past decades, the center metaphor for the emotions is portrayed as an irrational force and stressful emotional arousal that drive people to perform unpredictable behavior. So even if the emotion could have exert a negative effect in life, it can also serve useful function in everyday life. For example, emotions are very important source of energy that regulates people's life and behavior. It determines what people are drawn to, believe in, and committed to. Adaptive rules of emotion began to garner the attentions in current literature, and increasingly researchers recognize this misjudge on its quality and calling forward to investigate how the emotion impact cognitive and emotional functioning. Okay, so the next we will talk about the problem statement and study rationale. As demonstrated by the NANG and C2013 in the research, the required needs and the actual needs for assistance and resource received by the Malaysian Chinese independent secondary school teacher was still at a moderate level. The lack of school support and assistance could impact a teacher's performance and satisfaction at work, not to mention the recent challenge facing by this population and the negative impacts of the COVID-19 pandemics on their working performance and emotional well-being. So this will subsequently lead to high emotional reactions and poor psychological well-being among the teachers. Current study assume that teachers' EI might function as a buffer in preventing psychological problems and predicting a healthier coping style while dealing with burdensome tasks. From a psychological perspective, emotional experience are linked to almost all major forms of psychopathology. In essence, increased individual emotional ability to maintain or enhance his or her inner equilibrium after exposing to the threatening environment might serve as an adaptive coping functioning in life. Okay, so the next we look at the study gaps. Some study gaps have been highlighted in the current research. First is a very limited study have investigated the effect of emotional intelligence on the CIS teachers' coping responses. And the second is a very limited research have looked at the cultural appropriateness and application or applicability of the EI and COP measurement instrument in Malaysia context. The third will be the review on the previous research reflected very limited investigations on examining the suitability of the EI and COP assessment among the Malaysian Chinese population using the CB-SAM and BLS-SAM analysis. Okay, so next we go to our research objective. So we have 3 objectives here. The first is adaptation and back-to-back translation, the situational test of emotional understanding, STU, brief COP inventory, as well as the shuttle self-report emotional intelligence test, SSREI. And the second is we examine the reliability and validity of the STU, brief COP inventory, and SSREI through the content validity index. So it's through the expert validation. And the third is we examine the significant relationship between the CISS teachers, EI, and CL. So from here, our objective is only test the significant relationship between the EI and CL through a pilot study. Okay, now we go to the conceptual framework. Here is my conceptual framework. It actually comprised of three main components. First is the demographic factors and emotional intelligence, as well as the coping. I will go deeper. The first part will be the emotional intelligence first. Okay. So this is our emotional intelligence module. We are using the Peter Salovey and John Mayer's module, emotional ability-based module. Basically, their concept of EI define that the EI is the core element of social intelligence. Okay, so it consists of four components. The first will be the perceptions of emotion. Second is facilitations of emotion. Third, understand of emotion. And the fourth is managing emotion. Currently, many studies have think that the managing emotion is the highest level of an individual in the emotional intelligence skill. Okay, so the next I will go to the coping. So the coping, we're using the appraisal and transactional processes, and you can see the coping comprise of several components. Okay, so why coping is so important in life? Because coping actually can be described as one is described as an actions or responses from human which aim at modify or alter the cognitive and behavioral style to deal with the internal and external demand that are perceived as stressful or threatening in a person's life. So for this theory, we are using the Carver's and researchers theory, and the Carver and research and her colleagues propose several coping strategy, which include problem-focused coping, emotion-focused coping, and dysfunctional coping strategy. Okay, within this study, the problem-focused coping is directed at managing the stressful source, while the emotion-focused coping attempt at regulating the emotion arise as a consequence of the stressor. Oftentimes, if the situation is manageable or controllable, people prompt to adopt the problem-focused coping, including face the challenges, acquire new skill or knowledge, and find alternative solution to deal with the situational crisis. But if the situation is irreversible or unmanageable, like lost the loved one or pets, something like that, so the people tends to use the emotional focused coping to deal with the frustration, which is they try to manage themselves emotionally. Okay, so the next will be our research methodology. For this research design, our study is using the cross-sectional design. The reason why our study use the cross-sectional design is because this design is more suitable to use in the study because it can conduct through survey in a very short period of time. And the design is usually conducted to examine the prevalence of the interest outcome among a subgroup. In Malaysia, currently we have 63 Malaysians Chinese Independent Secondary School, CISS. And the researcher will randomly select 32 schools as the location of study as recommended. Okay, a minimum of 200 sample size are required to generate a fair representation of the population. And the present research also employed a cross-sectional pilot study involving 262 CISS teachers in Malaysia to examine their EI and coping strategy. So this I will talk about a little about the translation procedure for our measurement instrument. The first is we are trying to approach the expert who are excellent in bilanguage and asking them to validate on every items, and also like asking them to translate. The first expert request to translate from English to Malay, and then after translate to Malay, then we asking the second expert or second expert to translate back, forward translate the STU, brief cop, and also the ASEIS into the English language. So it's like from English to Chinese, then the Chinese to English again, like that. It's a backward translation, sorry. So the fourth is we prepare content validations form for every expert, and five is we get all the feedback and the evaluation, and then we remodify the items again from all these three instruments. Okay, so finally, I will present about the results. So our result, we realized that after remove all the very low validations, validity, content validity index item, we actually can get a quite high content validity index for all the instruments. There were positive correlations between the CIS teachers EI, problem focused coping, and emotional focused coping. And also we also found that the EI is negatively correlated with the dysfunctional coping among the CIS teacher. Yeah, so that is our finding part. And now we go to the discussion and conclusion. For our research, we think that to foster the student academic excellence, a teacher must possess strong EI and effective coping strategy. Despite the main rules of teacher is to enhance the positive learning experience of students, yet teachers are also required to handle their students better, as well as to be responsive to various teaching duties. So the current empirical study recommend the inclusions of the EI-related courses in the teacher developmental programs to facilitate the CIS teachers' efficient teaching and educational goals. Thank you. That is my presentation.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. T. Interesting presentation about emotional intelligence. I think there's very little emphasis given to the emotional intelligence, which is actually very vital. And you have done this study, although it's a pilot study. I think this study will actually contribute, especially to people who are interested to implement this aspect in their classroom. Maybe I'd like to ask, is there any question from the audience, online audience? Is there any question from the online audience? Any question? Or any question from the physical audience? Okay, there's no question. So I'd like to just say thank you to Ms. T for your presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All the best.
Kindly, I want to say something. I accidentally joined the other group, so I want to join my presentation. Nosheen Jaffer.
Correct? You want to do your...
Yes, I want to participate because I accidentally joined the other group. So now I want to give my presentation.
Put your video on. Just hold on.
Yes, my paper ID is 09.
09. Audience.
Nosheen Jaffer.
Okay, that's Nosheen. One question for Miss T just now. Sorry, Miss T, are you still there? Missy, are you still there? We have one question for you.
No.
Huh? Oh, she's not in. It's okay. Then we will proceed with Noshin.
What is the ID number?
099. 092.
292.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Noshin Jaffer. I am a PhD scholar at Lincoln University College, Malaysia. I am doing my PhD thesis under the supervision of Dr. Lubna Ali Muhammad, Associate Professor, Faculty of Social Sciences and Arts. This article is also part of my PhD research thesis, and the topic of my article is post-colonial localization of Shakespeare in Indian cinema. So I'm going to start my presentation. The contents of presentation are introduction, problem statement, objective of the study, significance of the study, literature review, research methodology, results, discussion, and finally, the conclusion. This article deals in the introduction. We will discuss that the article deals with reception of Shakespeare and his influence in India, especially taking into account the statistic that India was a former British colony, and also how the genealogy of Shakespearean reception has evolved over a period of time. A comparison with some previous productions like Shakespeare Wala, which was released immediately after the end of British Raj, is made to see that how films were made at that time and how Shakespeare and his work were portrayed in that time period. The imperialistic undertones and the change of this concept over time are focused in this research. Shakespeare has been part of subcontinent history in three ways: literary, performative, and cultural. Our familiarity with Shakespearean texts is triggered in early years when abridged versions of his texts were part of the curriculum. This familiarity is augmented with the frequent references of Shakespearean pithy and witty lines in our daily life. Then theatrical performances further embedded Shakespeare in our consciousness. But every interaction of ours has a different association, and this association is evolving over time. Problem statement. According to Trivedi, Shakespearean films in Indian cinemas and the Indian Shakespeare film, on the whole, have virtually remained areas of darkness in critical discourse. Though there is a current boom in writings about Bollywood and Indian cinema in general, catalyzed by film studies in South Asian departments, there is yet no extended study of the Indian Shakespeare film. Shakespeare on film and media is one of the fastest growing and challenging subfields in Shakespeare studies. Interest in the range of the international Shakespeare film has been slow to take off. The purpose is to not only trace Shakespearean influence in Indian cinema, but also to analyze the interplay of the aesthetic, historical, socio-political, and theoretical contexts in which Indian language films have turned to Shakespeare and to what purpose they have done so. The discussion extends from the content of the plays to the modes of their cinematic and intermedial translations. Objectives of the study. Journal objective. This study aims to examine the appropriation of Shakespeare in Indian cinema. It focuses on how Shakespearean plays Macbeth, Othello, and Hamlet have been converted into Indian films Makbool, Omkara, and Heather, respectively, and the subsequent adaptation with modification. Specific objectives: to evaluate Shakespearean dramas adapted in the Indian film industry, especially by the renowned filmmaker Vishal Bhardwaj. Second one, to analyze the processes involved in transforming a text into film, to highlight the molding of a piece of literature, its located in time and place and its relocation in a different culture, to discover the challenges involved in transforming a text into a film, and to relocate the new cultural context in which this transformation is carried out. Significance of the study. This research is a fruitful addition in field of drama and cinema. It would be helpful for the students and the researchers who will select study of film, drama, and the adaptation of plays on screen. The study's findings are important for film critics and film studies, especially screen adaptations of Shakespeare in world cinema. This study will also facilitate future researchers in the cross-cultural adaptation and post-colonial studies. Literature review. Literature review consists of different critics who have contributed to the research existing on Shakespeare films, and it consists of different critics from all over the world, that like Jackson, Neogi, Williamson, Kidney, and some others like Mendes and Sen. Research methodology. The research is a qualitative research. The exploratory domain involves analytical research where on the basis of previous existing knowledge and data, information has been collected, and through existing theories and researches, new deductions are formulated. The content source for the research material has been library material, internet data, which includes books, magazines, abstract journals, dissertations, audio visuals, and some interviews as well. The results and discussion of this thesis or this research is appropriation is a field utilized in the medium of art. Artists have used it perpetually to mold, modify, adapt, resituate, revision an already existing work and relocate it in their own context. Shakespeare activation in an Indian society is a conversion of his Englishness and also of his written text. There is an echo of Shakespearean presence for his readers through direct translation of lines, but it is not overshadowed by overdoing him as mirror mimicry of the stage productions. Appropriation of Shakespeare in India takes place through the change of locale, dialect, localization, folk assemblage, local traditional practices, and various customs. The reframing of Shakespearean setting is indigenized in the liminal locales of India. The variegated presence of Indian soil in Omkara, Maqbool, and Heather is synergetic and warm. The dusty, primitive landscape of Uttar Pradesh and enclosures of Mumbai and Maqbool, Omkara, and Heather, respectively, are reflective of the stratified presence of different cultural spaces that exist in India. The multiple ethnicities that exist in the stratified society of India and their respective narratives are injected through these films using Shakespearean conflation. It brings out the dynamics and power relation of two powers and how the unequal relation gets subdued with the passage of time and new narrative structure of power and its deployment come in force. Conclusion, this research brings out the dynamics and power relation of two powers and how the unequal relation gets subdued with the passage of time and new narrative structure of power and its deployment come in force. The discursive of Indian, Western, original adaptation, global, local, center, periphery are exponential of the relative position of binaries and their shifting proximity. There are many references used for this research. It ranges from various critics and journals. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Noshi. Much for your presentation. Okay, before we I mean, it's a very interesting study about Shakespeare localization of Shakespeare in Indian cinema. I didn't know that Shakespeare was so popular in India. especially where cinema is concerned. Anyway, thank you for enlightening us with such information about Shakespeare. Okay, so before I ask any question, I'd like to ask the audience, the online audience. Do you have any question that you'd like to ask the presenter? Any question? If there's any question, please unmute and you can ask the question. Okay, no question. How about the physical audience? Any question? Okay, no question. So, Ms. Noshin, I'd like to ask you one question, two questions actually. The first question is, you are talking about localization of Shakespeare in Indian cinema. When you say localization of Shakespeare in Indian cinema, are you talking about the whole of India? I mean, I'm talking about, is it from the north, south, or are you just, your concentration is only on the north part of India? Or is it South India, or is it the whole of India?
Sir, I'm talking about the mainstream of Shakespeare presence in India, especially how Shakespeare has been converted into a commercial aspect. Because Shakespeare unacknowledged adaptation have existed, but giving the credit to the writer has rarely been done. And this is an acknowledged adaptation of Shakespeare, where Shakespeare has been given credit, and there are nuances of different parts of India. For example, the city like Mumbai, it exists in one of the adaptations. And it also consists of Uttar Pradesh, but it includes the mainstream Bollywood cinema adaptation of Shakespeare.
So it is an adaptation of Shakespeare and localized it into Malaysia, into Indian cinemas, right? Yeah. Okay. The second question I'd like to ask you is that you said that you have qualitative data. I'd like to know, how did you analyze your qualitative data that you have? Were you using, what method were you using to analyze your qualitative data? Because it was not very clearly mentioned how your data was analyzed. For the audience, thank you.
So can you repeat your question? How I'm going to analyze?
It is totally based on qualitative data, right? Am I right? Your data is qualitative data, right? So I want to know how did you analyze your qualitative data? Is it?
The data consists of different. For example, the main analysis of the data will be based on the film, and the script of the text, the dramas themselves, which are written by Shakespeare, and also the script, which consists of the dialogues of various characters, which is shared by the filmmaker. Then it also consists of interviews and also the film critics who have pointed out the differences and similarities between the two films. And also the cultural context, the post-colonial studies which have been done on this topic. So it will consist of different ranges of material.
So I think you are talking about narrative data. You analyze based on the narratives, right? So it is not content analysis or thematic analysis. It's more on narrative. Are you looking at the laws?
Qualitative.
Yeah.
Qualitative.
Yeah, I know it's qualitative data. Okay. Just I wanted to know exactly how did you analyze the data. Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Noshina, for your presentation. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you for your time.
So we will proceed. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Hello, Professor. Can you hear my voice? Yes.
What's your name, please?
I'm Zhao Haojun on the number 75, and I noticed that there is still some time before I speak, but I still have classes in the evening. So can I start early?
You are your
Zhao Haojun.
75 is your ID 075?
Yeah.
What's your name? What's your title? Achievement Goals Orientation, is that the one?
My title is Achievement Goals Orientation characteristics
Okay,
of
okay, yeah.
university
That means
student.
this is 075.
Do you 75? So
Yeah,
I
75.
want to start early. So
Okay, do we have 075 then?
No. I will sharing my screen.
Yeah, we do have.
Okay, thank you.
Your video that you already sent.
Yes, yes.
我不知道保存到哪儿。
No. I want to showing my screen.
Because we have very limited time.
My name is Zhao Haojun, Faculty of Social Science, Arts, and
Hold on, just okay. So you are going to present your own slides or what?
Yes.
How long is the slide? Because we have very limited time. We don't want your slide to take 30 minutes. We can't afford that kind of time. You're only given 10 minutes to do your presentation. You think you can do it in 10 minutes time?
Okay, thank you. Dear Professor, my name is Zhao Haojun, Faculty of Social Science, Art, and Humanities, PhD of Education. It's an honor to have the opportunity to participate in this meeting. The title of my paper is Achievement Goal Oriented Characteristics of University Students' Academic Skills, Social Skills, and Emotional Expressions. For introduction, the fundamental text of education is to build more character, and its business aims is to improve the literacy of educated and to improve the model of training talents in the 21st century. Therefore, the key to improving students' core literacy is which competencies and skills should be developed in schools to foster lifelong developmental qualities and abilities. Achievement goals orientation theories is a psychological approach to the study of individual. Expectation of desired goals to guard the behavior of individual to adjust the
Zhao,
yes.
Please share the screen you properly. We just see only the first page. We cannot see other page. Where is your objective? What is the introduction?
Okay. Sorry.
Your slide is not moving. Your slide is not moving. Can you move your slide?
So, now can you see my picture?
Yes.
Okay, I will start now.
Okay.
Okay. The behavior of individual to adjust the direction of goals and to guard researcher to explore the fundamental research of human development from the phenomenal to the essential, which is in line with the concept of school education development. The study of the characteristics of individuals with different achievement goals for education students has operational implication for the development of professional core literacy. And for methodology, the research was conducted using a literature review, questionnaire, and statistical analysis. For finding overall characteristics of universities, students' academic skills, social skills, and emotional expresses in relation to their achievement goals. In order to have a clearer understanding of the overall characteristics of students' academic skills, social skills, and emotional expresses in the two target orientations, the value of these three factors are accumulated and compares. overall equal to skills, social and emotional. For my discussion, one, negative emotion have a high effect on students' learning ability, but have little effect on social skills. And there is a high correlation between social skills and learning ability. Two, extrinsic skills such as organizational, informational, and manipulative skills we're at a high level MP students will intellectual skills which are at the core of the skills. We're at a lowest level, but students who mastered goal orientation had strong self-confidence and group demandings. The emotional difference between the two types of the goal-oriented students were meaning in the area of positive emotions. Three, there was a significant difference in the overall level of goal orientation between the two groups of students with a higher proportion of achievement goal-oriented students in the PE group. And for my conclusion, one teacher should give foreplay to their organizational and communication skills in the teaching process to overcome the impact of self-emotional inhibition on learning. Schools should provide more practical opportunities to increase the opportunities for students to exercise their skills and improve their self-confidence. Improve relevant teaching and training programs to lay the foundation for the enhancement of professional core literacies. Develop teaching strategies to increase the proportion of students who master the targets on orientation. And this is my reference. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Xiao, for your presentation. So if I understand it very well, you are just trying to see the importance of academic skills, social skills, and also emotional experiences, which are three components that actually should be focused on to have achievement, to achieve their goals in university. So that's what you are trying to research on. So based on your own experience, I think you have seen this, or maybe on your own experience that you have seen that the emphasis is given so much on academic skills that the social skills and the emotional experience. I believe so. But before that, I'd like to ask you some questions. Ask the audience if they have any questions. Is there any questions in the online audience would like to ask Xiao? Anybody in the audience would like to ask? Or from here, the physical audience? Any question? No? Okay, no question. So I'd just like to ask you one question, Xiao. Can you answer? Okay, so based on your own experience, doing this study, what seems to be the main problem that you encounter when you did this study? Do you find that students, that university students that you were doing the research on, had all these problems, or did they, mention any other particular problem that they have? It can be also because they have problem with communication. They cannot communicate, maybe because they don't have social skills. But based on your experience as a researcher, what did you find out? What is the most significant thing that you found out in this study, besides what you have already presented?
Okay. Besides on the questionnaire server messages, the achievement orientation, the emotional ability, and the emotional exercise, students students' internal learning skill is good. Internal interrogation skills is poor. And achievement target orientation students perceive emotional exercise efficiency higher than achievement targets orientation students, consistent with often, but negative emotional exercise level, namely achievement targets orientation education professional students emotional swimmings grabs the grade orientation students overall involvement level is higher than the target orientation students. Given this increase the students practice opportunities, improve the teaching content and other related suggestions to improve students' professional core literacies, provide their theoretical reference. Yes.
Thank you very much. Yeah, very good answer. Very clear. I'm sure you have done this research thoroughly. Thank you very much. There's no question, so you are free. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to the next presenter. Who do we have on next? Yuan. We pay. Do we have a what does it do? Anything else? Let's see.
I once again like to remind you that participants who have failed or missed the schedule and who are present online now can share your presentation. I go by the order, Mr. Pavel, Dr. Khaled, Ms. Yu Peng, Ms. Lee Ting Yu. I wish to record absence of Mr. Pavel. I wish to record the absence of Dr. Khaled and the absence of Yuan Yu Peng and Ms. Lee Ting Yu. Thank you for presenting your research. Thank you for being online, both participants and the audiences. Once again, I would like to remind, we have the second day of presentation, which begins tomorrow at 8:30 Malaysian time. There are some surprise gifts. There are some amazing discussions. There are some colloquiums tomorrow with the contact networks who are present in Malaysia and also people who are sharing their resources from other countries. I request once again all the participants and the audiences to come online tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Malaysian time. Till then, it's time for a goodbye. And once again, thank you for all the presentees and the audiences for this engaging session. Thank you so much and have a good evening. Thank you.